You just don't stick the landing in your close-up, and that's why you'll never really get a close-up.
I saw a man on a bike, and I was like, that's an appropriate person to raid.
That means we've synced our cycles, Nick.
We've talked about periods and Osher Gunsberg enough.
I feel like we should send them a short video where it's just me at the start explaining what a raid is.
Right.
Your spirit orbs.
Send him his orbs.
They can't be watching Pete because they'll be watching you.
Oh, shit.
Bodies are crazy, Gus, and every woman is different.
Oh, shit. You can't say things like that because they don't go back into the bottle now.
Yeah, it's out there.
Can I have my single? Hi, I'm Gus. Looks like you're about to be raided. Well, it's going to happen to all of us at one stage, so it's time to find out what raiding actually means. This is all I have for this bit. Pete, get rid of my single. I don't like it.
I'm thoroughly unprepared. Welcome to the show for Thursday, the 1st of October.
Do you know how unprepared you are?
See how unprepared I am? I knew it. I said, am I forgetting something? And I didn't have the microphone. Welcome to the show tonight. On the show, games we've been playing, records we've been breaking, and murders we've been committing. Maybe, but I can't commit murders alone, so I'm joined as always by
Gus, who now will use layers and also save every goddamn project he works on.
And Steph, who has been babysitting some fools in a very spooky game she'll tell you about soon.
Ooh, and Peter, and everything broke again.
But people have noticed your lighting, Pete.
Already?
Which is a thing, yeah.
It's very dramatic.
I like it.
Well, yeah, look, we could talk about it, but let's get the show started.
Are you, now, I'm calling it out only to help you. Are you in that space where you're like, I just need a little bit of time to catch myself?
I can't breathe.
Yeah. It's fine. Welcome, everybody, to the show. We are excited to have you. We're excited to be back. I don't need this for another week. I feel like normally it feels like the weeks go by incredibly quickly, but it feels like forever since we've done this.
It's because we did the show on
extra
Wednesday
day.
last week, so we've had an extra day.
All right.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Look at this.
Yeah, it's not cycle check time, or is it?
Oh,
No, that's every day, not just Wednesday.
Gone off.
Clue, track symptoms.
There we go. Sorry.
Well, let's do it together. What should we track?
How have you been feeling, Angus?
We can do
Stressed.
light, medium, or heavy, or spotting. But we don't have to worry about that because I don't have my period right now. Cramps, headache, ovulation, tender breasts.
Sorry, if everyone, I'm not having an issue with what she's telling me
how I like
about.
my Nando's.
It's the icons, it's the iconography they've used for them all,
Yeah.
and I love that they've had to represent those things accurately, but also stylistically. So they're all kind of like, as you said, they're a bit.
Before you say anything else, I just want to tell you, you don't have to talk now. You didn't have to say anything there. So you could have just let that go and being fine and not have had. But when you cut tomorrow, next week's highlight package at the top, make sure you punch in on Steph's face from 15 seconds.
I'm cramping up and I feel awkward now. My heart's racing.
All right, we'll definitely add that to the track.
Periods.
Welcome to the show, everybody. Are you on your period? Let us know in the Discord. Pete, how do you get on the Discord?
You join through the Patreon at patreon.com/backpocket. It's the place to go. It's the place to be. It is a new month, so if you sign up today, you get a full month worth of excitement, except for the fact that Patreon does this weird thing where it takes 48 hours to process everyone. So it might be a nightmare for the next two days.
Great.
But then it'll be great.
Yeah, then it will be fine. Someone said I look like a sexy hacker from an action movie.
Oh yeah, we can see that.
You do.
I do.
You need to be in a
It's the dark cap, and then the simple grey tee is I don't care, but also technology.
You need to be in a windowless van out the back right now on a headpiece to us right now.
Yeah, can I borrow your van?
Sure. If I was in it, in this look, backwards hat.
You'd be the cool engineer who listens to music from a boombox.
No. He's Emilio Estevez who gets skewered by the lift.
This is literally what I was going to say. I was literally going to say,
Because it's
he's
spot
Emilio
on.
Estevez who gets skewered by the lift.
Hasta lasagna, don't get any on you.
What does that even mean?
It means nothing. He literally he's talking about the chewing gum. He says, just don't chew on it. Oh, like just don't chew it.
Just don't chew
Hasta
it.
lasagna, don't get any
onion.
onion. So he's saying hasta la vista.
I think it was like, it's post-Terminator, right? So it's
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
It's
But
like
that's-
that. Everyone was saying it.
Everyone's saying hasta la vista,
baby.
Yeah.
baby. And then he says hasta lasagna.
Don't get any onion.
So it
Let's
rhymes
make the
with-
line better. Hasta la vista. Don't blow up like
Don't you date my sister?
Yeah, that's good too. Is that part of the movie? I don't remember.
I can't remember. No.
Feels unrelated.
Yeah.
Well, tonight on the show we have some special guests. We're going to be doing a lot of talking, so just like gird yourself for that. And then at the end, we're going to watch a movie. How exciting is that? We're going to watch a movie. We're going to have a bit of a
Was that a
movie
real question? How exciting is that? We're going to find out.
We are going to find out.
It's not exactly a movie. It's a game movie, right? It's an interactive movie.
yeah.
And we have popcorn.
We
and
do.
we have popcorn, and the
Yeah.
entire office smells like popcorn. Also,
if anyone else wants to preemptively
Pop some
totally.
organize some popcorn,
chuck some corn.
And we won't judge. We won't judge. If you want to microwave that bad boy like one of those packets, go for it. If you want to chuck those kernels in a pan or in the pot with the bit of oil like I do at home, do that as well. If you want to buy a pre-popped pack of popcorn, I don't care for that.
it's healthier.
It is healthier because it's not covered in
When is-
butter. You can choose to not get butter popcorn.
When is popcorn ever a healthy snack?
It's literally
Well, it's pretty healthy when
corn.
it's just corn.
It's it's just empty.
pure
it's
fiber.
whatever.
It's
Yeah.
very good. For
You can do
your-
the healthy one in the pan.
like
You don't even need-
internal bits.
I do a couple of drops of coconut oil in a pan and then cover it, and then I do it that way. That's healthy.
Can I recommend?
It's the brown sugar I put on top to caramelize it.
I use ghee.
Ooh. I made that noise
That's-
with them, but I don't know what it is.
Oh, it's like in
Just clarified butter.
yeah. It's like a fat that they use mostly like in places like India and stuff like that.
Oh, okay, cool.
To
And it's
cook with.
what like actual. It's just because the reason you don't use butter.
Yep.
With popcorn, is because butter contains a lot of water, and water makes the popcorn soggy.
Soggy.
So you clarify
It
butter, which is
does.
what ghee is, which is just basically boiling off the water till it's just the fat
Wow.
and the taste, and then you can pop it in that and drizzle it on top, and then it will stay crisp and crunchy and not
Mwah.
drizzly.
That
Nice.
sounds fantastic.
There you go. Not
there's
just
a
a sexy hacker, sexy popcorn
Not
maker
just
too.
a sexy hacker.
All right, should we get into this? Should
do
we
it.
get into this?
I feel like I've recovered.
Have you recovered?
I feel like I'm ready. I could do this.
I want to let you know that everyone said that the lighting looks great. And
I'm glad people noticed.
Sensational.
It's not quite right. It's close though. It's
good.
better than it has been.
It feels more dramatic.
It is
does.
more dramatic. But also, let's talk about it now.
Yeah.
The studio was just too lit, and it was a symptom of how quickly we got this space up and running.
Yeah.
But I got a new light, I got some new grip gear, and we've rigged a nice little overhead
I
lantern.
I was going to say as well, like, take a
Nitrotex
photo and
is
send it.
living
Yeah.
for the new lighting
Because-
setup.
Good.
Living for it.
The problem is the light is so full on. Nick's going to take a photo and hopefully get it up on the Discord. It is
yeah,
a crane arm
it's
that hangs over us
substantial.
with a huge, like, sort of Japanese-inspired lantern that's hanging over us. It feels more like we're in an actual living room. So it's quite homely, and I like it. But obviously, you guys don't see it. That's the point. It's not meant to be on the camera. I reckon it would make a nice bit of set dressing, Pete.
Confused Echidna
that
says,
pretty.
my top looks like a stylistic tribute to the late Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
Oh, because she used
Which
to wear
is lovely.
She used to wear collars.
Yeah.
I just learnt this. Collars with a judge robe in kind of like protest when they're like when they were not able to vote something through, and she believed in it. She would wear a collar as a way of demonstrating that, which I thought was very, very neat.
So in the Pocketeers Club channel in the Discord, then you can see the big globe. All right. Before we get into the games, you did a special stream last night.
We did a stream last night. I'm a little tired, but it was good fun. We did a Pock-art stream
I was like,
last
oh,
night.
tell me all about it. I was there.
You were there. You were there. You were there. Where were you?
I was having a lovely night.
Oh, okay.
I did come down. You know when
we
I
were like,
messaged
Nick's
you,
going to be here from 9.
But when I came down and messaged you, I literally was like, okay, partner goes to bed. Kids have been in bed for a while. Like we're watching Raised by Wolves.
Oh, it's a good
and
show.
It's
That's
very
good.
Very
Yeah.
good. And then went downstairs. I was like, okay, they'll still be on for half an hour or so. And I sit down and I go to the thing and it's like, this broadcast has ended. And it goes 2 hours and 53 minutes. And I'm like, started at 8, 9, 10. He must have ended like a minute ago. And then I look, and you'd literally just gone offline.
Yeah, right.
Missed you by that much.
Well, no, it was good. We got through, I think, 5 or 6 Pock-art logos. There was, I'm trying to remember all the names. So it was like 2 Peters. There, Hamish McKenzie got his done. Josh.
Someone with a big name with a D, like
No, we haven't done theirs yet. Denza. Oh no, that was Pete. That was Wolsey at the end. No,
We did Drengi.
Yeah,
Drake
that guy.
Drake
yes.
and Drengi.
So
Drengi.
they've all been sketched. We jumped on. I think we got everyone.
Mando.
We talked to everyone that we were doing the logos for. So that was heaps of fun. And so now I've got a backlog of them to go and properly design, which would be great. But we'll keep doing them obviously going forward. And if you would like to add yourself to that pile of logos that are on their way coming out to you, you just need to join the Patreon tier that is appropriate. Which I think
50.
is the 50, and we'll get you on the list and get you a logo soon. But there's a bit of work for me to do.
Nice seeing those logos popping up in the Discord as well.
Yeah, everyone.
Like,
Yeah, changing the names.
People's
Yeah.
profiles.
I'm not gonna lie, a little part of me is disappointed when I know I've designed one for someone and they haven't changed it. I'm not.
Hey, that's their prerogative.
That is
They can do
totally
whatever
their
they want
prerogative.
with it. They can have it printed on a pillowcase. They can tuck
Yeah.
it away and never look at it again.
But get one of those body pillows, put it on top of like a torso. That can be me as the torso. It's my prerogative to be disappointed.
Right, okay.
My prerogative to be disappointed.
Such a turn. Luna Tuna's in the chat. She's laughing at Big D, but then also go to sleep.
Go to bed, Luna.
bed.
Seriously. We raided her at the end of the stream last night, and she was doing an art stream as well. I think she was like doing a cool painting of the Mandalorian.
Yeah.
I was gonna say the mandolin.
Until sees a baby.
And then in the morning, I wanted to quickly. That was the quote we sent off.
That's my Verna.
It was really funny. The raid message was, "I want to see the baby."
Nikki likes it.
And everyone wrote that, and she went, "Oh, I've done a Baby Yoda," so took it really literally. Obviously, you can't do a Werner Herzog typing font when you send a message. But then this morning, I woke up to check something on the Twitch app, and she was still on. So that was from like 10 till 8 in
Crazy.
the morning.
Were you actually streaming all night, Luna, or did you have a little break and then start streaming
She's
again?
not called
she hadn't
Solar
moved.
Tuna.
She hadn't moved, and she was in the same outfit.
There's
And I'm
a
like, unless she just
cycle
passed
of the
out
day
on the couch.
joke for you all.
Interesting.
She's laughing at the chat now. She says, ha 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 ha, which I imagine is like manic and exhausted.
Yeah, exactly.
It could be that she is actually a vampire.
She now
So-
says, I streamed all night, baby,
Holy.
and so has clicked
Poll in the chat, please, if you think Luna Tuna is a vampire, yes or no.
All right, let's jump into the talk about the video games, because we're not here to talk about fish that broadcast all night. We're here to talk about things that we've been playing. And with that, I say, hey, we don't say
No,
that.
talk back. Oh, wrong one.
We can talk. Let's.
Oh, we got to listen to that music now.
We'll just change up the order.
Oh, we've got groovy music in the background, do we?
Yeah.
Oh, does it fade
Just
out?
for a moment. It's going to fade out.
Come on,
in a second.
just-
What are
A
we
few
playing?
things broke before we got started tonight, so
Including the Stream Deck.
well, that's the main thing.
And Pete's Spirit.
My spirit's back. Here we go.
I'm just saying, what y'all been playing? Of course, this is a segment brought to you by Brent Jones, aka Loki Cat, one of the first logos that we drew. And I would argue back when you weren't, you hadn't gotten your eye in for it yet.
Oh, okay. Go on.
No, I don't mean that. I was just like, we've spoken a lot about how he's a cat and a man in a cat suit. What else can I bring up?
yes,
I was thinking,
okay.
maybe
So
I'll
let's
just talk about
critique
the logo.
let's critique the art that I spent a lot of time on.
No, let's imagine what he would look like playing the lead role that Taylor Swift
Sandra
played in
Rothfull.
Cats. Huh?
One of the pictures that came in is I stand with Rotful over Roffle.
That's very funny.
That's wonderful. Good
How
input
are the
there.
people?
Imagine him as Taylor Swift in Cats, like where he's got that
Oh,
weird
yep.
body where it's like it's not someone in a cat suit,
It's
but it's
kind of
like
uncanny valley.
Uncanny Valley, but also like you've sexualized a cat,
Oh, yeah.
and not just in ears and a tail, which is how we normally sexualize like cats.
Taylor Swift's under there.
Yeah, but Taylor Swift.
No, the thing that throws everyone off is there's a scene in Cats apparently where one of them is wearing a fur coat and they unzip it and they take that layer off to then reveal that they've got fur underneath. And there's been some great YouTube videos of people just like trying to extrapolate what the hell is going on
Somebody
in this universe.
died and they're wearing their skin.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I can tell you exactly what Loki Cat looks like right now. He looks like this. Because he's eating his dinner while watching.
Hey!
He said that as the timer was
I was
going
like,
on.
he's some kind of strange gremlin.
yeah,
That's not how I eat either. So I don't, but it needed to be a theatrical eat.
it's true.
Sure.
You can't just like.
I would have been more like,
That was 2 forks
Okay, yeah.
pasta. That was like double spooning
Yeah,
into
but it
a
was
soup.
like as well.
yours
No
was
one
like,
does that.
Yeah,
I'm like a.
yeah. It's Zoidberg. How's Zoidberg?
Zoidberg.
You're eating like Zoidberg. Okay, cool.
Well, that was what we've been playing.
We're literally at the end of the show now. Okay, let's talk about what we've been playing. Peter, you've recovered from the debacle that was the 10 minutes before we went to air. What have you been playing, speaking of debacle?
I've been playing potentially the worst game to come out with a name attached to it in decades. Serious Sam 4. Let's bring up some.
How dare it have a name?
Oh, we don't have pictures yet. Hang on.
You can make a bad game if you don't give it a name. I think that's what we're saying.
Hang on.
Still broken.
Yeah.
That's still broken.
I know very little about Serious Sam.
I mean, well, look, my only background is I think I played a demo of number 2 back in the day on PC, and it was a strange kind
What's
of.
back in the day? How many?
We're talking.
What day are we talking?
Year 9. School
1999?
laptops.
No. Yes,
So,
you used to be able to say that as me. 1999?
Yeah, 99. I think I played. Maybe it was 1, but possibly 2.
Okay.
It is.
Laptops.
It is like.
2001 was the first game.
Oh. Okay. Well.
Pretty close.
Yeah, okay, around then. It is a wave-based style shooter where I'm taking all the info out of Pete, but like it's basically you just fight giant mobs of things that swarm at you. Yeah, right. But that's what they're doing.
You're gonna need to alt tab across and change the audio output to speakers again.
Okay.
I asked for context.
Yeah, sorry. So yeah, it is a classic title wave-based shooter as Gus described, and it is still very much that. It is a disgusting looking, and we'll show you that in a second. Disgusting looking 3D game now.
Yeah.
And speakers, yeah. Nice. Yeah, that's fine. Leave it.
Cool. Sorry about that. There we go.
That's all me, everything.
Lunar Tuna Poll, 92% confirmed is a vampire. Only 8% voted no.
Check it out. Look at that monstrosity. So it kind of looks cool in motion. And
I was
was
going
like,
to say, there's something in the lighting in this one that if you squint, looks really ambitious and cool. Like, it's actually...
If you
Not that
squint.
No, not there.
and I liked playing this game when it first came out. You're right. It felt like a tech demo. It felt like let's get as much stuff on screen as we could and blow it up. And you basically like
This game is in 4 or this game?
the first one.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Well, this series is built around the same concept. And I won't dwell on this too much, but this is what this looks like. It looks like a game from I don't know when. It was bad when it came out in 2002, if it did that. The writing is awful. The gameplay is dated and not particularly fun.
Character models, man.
They're awful. There's some big guns in it. And the most fun thing about the original is still the most fun thing about this, which is there's a mob that runs around without a head, holding 2 bombs and runs at you, and you hear them across the map. And
I think everyone's got no heads from what I'm seeing here as well.
it's absolutely only thing worth experiencing in the game.
But very quickly, because Serious Sam was a game that was like a response to what shooters were doing in the 2000s, right?
I think you're giving it too much credit to assume that it was being clever, like Duke Nukem was being clever in being like let's take the shooter genre and go like this, like break it down to its bare face.
Right, okay.
Like dude with a gun, dude bro with a gun.
I'm giving it too much credit.
Yeah. It was modeled off that Duke style, but it was basically just like a wave shooter clone of Duke without and it's probably generous to say the character of Duke, but they definitely nailed a tone with Duke Nukem.
Yeah.
So you kind of knew it was an experience, whereas this was always just about like blowing as much shit up on screen as you could, and like we've seen better versions of blowing up.
And from what I remember, like even as crass and terrible as a character like Duke Nukem is, there is a level of iconicness to it. He's sort of an amalgamation of Arnold Schwarzenegger versus a few other sort of classic 80s stereotypes. But he has a look. There's the singlet and the yellow hair and the glasses. It's like it is iconic to a degree. The thing about Serious Sam that I don't quite remember is whether the original games really highlighted much of a story and a main character and him being this badass. And even if he was, they haven't done anything clever with the sort of the modernizing of that character, because like from those cutscenes and stuff, he's atrocious looking as a character model. He's like got
Which one is he?
He's the one in the front with the white t-shirt.
Him.
He's got a bomb.
He's just got these crappy sunnies, a white t-shirt.
They remind me of like 1999 Matrix sunnies.
Yeah.
Totally.
I know Kung Fu.
And then all the lines are meant to be like so bad they're good, badass lines.
And so like yes, they are all that, and maybe 1 in 10 lines is like,
Yeah.
So like there were people who worked on this who had fun, but it certainly feels like a game that was made by uni students who then got given the IP of Serious Sam.
Yeah, right.
So it's like it's cool that it works as a 3D shooter, but there's nothing. Don't buy it. Don't buy it.
How much was it?
Full price. I can't remember exactly what I paid for it, but
also I would say like this is maybe they're trying to do a little bit of a throwback to that sort of Quake style strafing shooter. But we've seen wave shooters in better sort of light, like things like Left 4 Dead. But we've also seen like quick paced, crazy weapons games like the Doom series does it so much better. There's that frenetic kind of continuum momentum, fighting off so many things, juggling your weapons, like that is a series that has taken the core of what used to be so great about it and modernized it, whereas here this just looks rough as, and you know they haven't done anything to make it feel like he's an updated version.
Yeah, they rely heavily on the monster design, and it's like that's not enough, particularly because it's not great.
$56 on Steam, people are saying.
Yeah, right.
I think that's all.
People are saying you should refund.
That's all very good analysis. My problem with this, and we'll move on to the next game in a second, is that all the guns look very skinny. And I've thought that every time I see any footage from Serious Sam, I'm like, why are the guns so thin?
But you've been playing too much Doom, where they're all really wide.
Like I think modern video games have led towards this idea of like Gears of War-esque guns, where you just go, no human could pick that up in the first place.
It's true. It does look very thin.
Whereas it just looks like a skinny digit of a gun, and I'm just wow. Anyway, so there you go. And then someone in the chat, who was it? It was Arcade Blob says, "Does that airship have an udder?" And I believe it does.
This is the start of the game, and someone mentioned this. This clip isn't showing the bigger guns. Black Death said that. Yeah, there's much bigger guns. And you dual wield. But I know what you're saying.
But if I get a revolver in any other game, it's got girth.
There's a big gun.
It's got girth.
There's a cannon.
You literally carry a cannon.
That takes up half of the screen.
I've seen bigger.
Let's move on, because I don't really want to talk about it. It's
Let's
trash.
talk about the game that you have been enjoying.
And I've been playing the Mafia Definitive Edition.
Cool.
And it's bloody beautiful.
That should matter.
I never played any of the Mafia. I played a little bit of Mafia 3, but that was kind of a separation from the main Mobster series. And this is like classic immigrant story, 1930s, Prohibition era. This is Illinois. It's basically Chicago, but it's called like Lost Heaven or something like that. It's fake Chicago. And you are a young taxi driver who gets caught up in the affairs of the mob and starts to make your way up the ranks. And like, it's very much a LA noir feel. There's it's more story than game, really. It takes itself very seriously, but I think it nails its tone, and all the cutscenes land, and it feels really good. You feel like a violent person. You feel like this character should be a violent person in the situation that they found themselves in. It's the
every
classic
cliche.
mob story. Every cliche it plays out here, but it's like, you want the main guy to be a protagonist, but also he's got to do bad stuff, and it's like they ride that line really nicely.
Yep.
He falls in love with the dame, and
watch out for this.
So the story is like this beautiful 30s homage to. I mean, it's just a cliche. It is a cliche in a.
That's kind of what you want from this kind of genre piece, though, isn't it? You want all of those tropes to make it feel like you're living those fantasies.
Yeah, and it's been rebuilt ground up, so it's basically the Mafia 3 engine, but the first game. There's some new gameplay and stuff, but it still feels like an old game.
It's such an impressive.
I remember failing all the driving missions in this. The driving missions in this are particularly difficult.
It's one of those ones that's worth hunting down and having a look at the side by side of the original. It's 2002 was when the first one came out, and the side by sides of the graphical overhaul. It's nice to do that versus watching those new ones where it's like, here's the PS4 to PS5 update. It's like, no. This is, you watch the original. What was it on? It was just PC.
I think it was.
Might have done the rounds.
I played it.
Was it on
PlayStation
2 and Xbox? Yeah. So seeing that and seeing this as a ground up rebuild with like beautiful lighting, those sort of puddles in the streets, that kind of thing.
It's definitely a fresh coat of paint, though. Not and yes, the engine feels new.
Yep.
But it feels like playing an old game.
I was going to say, because it is a game that there weren't too many open world games back then. Like, this was the beginning of that. It was like not the GTA 4s that you think of as being.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's about as
World
big as
City
a.
games
It's
are.
about as big as a GTA 3. Yeah, like a Vice City world.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but in
okay.
terms of like, because I never played the original. In terms of how the city feels, does it feel like you're going from mission to mission, and the city is just this thing that you're experiencing as you travel through, or does it have that GTA thing where the city feels alive and that there are stories everywhere, and you sort of like interact with them and you stumble across things?
Yeah, it's definitely closer to a GTA 3. There's just character models in the world.
Yeah, right.
Than a GTA 5. The world is alive, but because it looks so good and the AI is like, there's plenty of people and things around, more so than they would have been able to pull off on the consoles back then as well. Like, it does feel like a really beautiful, well laid out place. It doesn't necessarily feel alive. Like, yeah, you're not going to go and bump into a character like you would in GTA 5 who then starts a fist fight with you because they're a thinking creature. It's like people will walk out on the road and all do the same animation when you drive past them kind of thing.
It is funny that, especially with something like this, as you said, it is a coat of paint. So I've seen a few people doing the running and gunning and finding cover, and it's like there is that real snap to wall. You know, you pop out, you swing back. It's not fluid body motion.
Yeah.
It's that kind of like, oh no, this is an older game, and that can be heaps of fun as well, because like sometimes that feels nostalgic, but it's nice to do it that doesn't make your eyes bleed because you're playing on such a low res old poly game. It's like, no, it's nice to look at.
So, and I would say, like, yeah, the missions feel really dated as well, but that kind of feels nice. It's like there's the mission where you do a race because the race car driver, the mob's racer, got beaten up in the alley before the
So you gotta fill
thing.
in.
So it's like, you're our wheel man, get behind the wheel.
Yeah.
So it's like that kind of stuff happens, and it's like it just feels like it doesn't make you like GTA drive from point A to point B and then from point B back to point A kind of stuff.
Even though you're a taxi driver.
You move really quickly. There's like a mission at the start where you do taxi stuff.
Sure.
And it's like, here's some just like world building. Someone, Cinnamon's Bun, said it's not worth the $70 in my opinion. I agree. Even though I am enjoying it, it's like you can get all definitive edition Mafia definitive editions for $90, or they're individually really expensive. So
Wow.
if you haven't played,
But like that includes this one.
yes,
That they've done all the work to.
yeah.
Oh, right.
So the other ones, I'm sure, I don't know what the other games definitive editions are priced at on Steam. I'm sure it's cheaper than this because this is technically the most recent endeavor. But yeah, you could get the whole package for $90, and I can tell you that this game is great, and that it feels like an old game, but it's really polished, and I'm in love with the storytelling in it. Mafia 3 I didn't play through because I didn't particularly like the storytelling. I don't know if you guys had any experiences with
We
that.
played it on Pock-art.
Yeah.
That was the one in New Orleans?
Yep.
Yeah, right.
So yeah, I mean, if you haven't played any of the other ones, maybe it's worth spending $90 and getting all of them, because yeah, it's steep. $70 for this is steep. I would be more comfortable with like a $40 price point
Is it
for it. but-
2K?
Yeah.
Yeah,
They
published,
never do
yeah.
anything cheap, do they?
No, and they never drop their price.
No.
I guess it's one of the. Sorry. It's one of those things where you go.
You do that, yeah. Yep.
Why?
Too expensive.
It's one of those things where they put a ton of work into this. Obviously, like this is a real rebuild of the thing. They haven't just up-resed. They've cut everything is kind of new in it. So that involves a ton of work. The other two games, I saw Slowpunk and the Saltiest Pretzel in chat say that they haven't done anything to the other two, like remastered
Yeah,
ones.
they're
So
just-
it's like. They're charging for this and then throwing in the others for $10 each and going, well, that's actually the deal you get is the 90.
Yeah.
Because that's amortizes the cost across all three.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
But yeah, you are buying a nearly 20-year-old game.
Yeah, and the definitive editions of the other two, I think, just has like whatever DLC they put out, which might just be different cars and stuff, not necessarily content outlay. But yeah, I liked it. I'm liking it. I'm playing through
Are
it.
you going to finish it?
Yeah, I totally will finish it. I keep going back into it every night, dipping in and playing a mission. Again, it feels like every mission is like a 40-minute affair, so it's like that's easy to. I mean, maximum.
yeah.
Some of them are much shorter, so it's easy to just jump in, play a mission, and because the world isn't as persistent as a GTA. It's like the mission ends and there's a cutscene, and then it's the next day kind of thing.
Yeah.
There's always a point to put it down, and you feel like you're just coming into a new episode of the game. It's quite nice.
Cool.
Yeah.
Stephanie?
I have been playing Phasmophobia.
I've seen people talk.
Not to be confused with Phantasmagoria, which I think is a game from 1995 that
that
I
is old
almost
school.
bought by mistake. This is one of those situations where I saw a bunch of people streaming it at once, like Among Us. I was like, "What is that?" And so I asked a few people in the community were like, "It's a new horror game. You should totally check it out. It's really, really fun." It's also available in VR, which would be absolutely terrifying.
I'm out.
So it was like $20 or something. I bought it, downloaded it, and was like, I'm going to stream it tonight. And then a couple of hours before I was going to stream, I noticed that it's 4-player co-op only.
Oh,
So
wow.
I was like, oh, crap. So I texted Barjo. He was in. He got in Mark from Auntie Donna's Boys and Tom...
Tom Walker?
Ballard.
No.
Tom Walker.
Tom Walker, a comedian who
Tom
I'd never
is
met
good, I
before.
think.
Tom is good.
Yeah.
He's on Twitter. Yeah. Who I'd never met before, but is lovely. And we had our team, and it was great. So the premise of the game is that you are an elite ghost hunting team, and you have to go into houses that are haunted and identify which room the ghost is in. And then identify the type of ghost it is by using a bunch of different equipment. And the ghost, you'll be able to determine what kind of ghost it is depending on what equipment it reacts to.
Yeah.
However, you have about 5 minutes to kind of look for clues and sort of put your equipment down and figure out what's going on before the ghost starts hunting you. And it's actually
I'm
really
excited,
terrifying.
but that was fear excitement when you looked at it. Like,
terrifying. Yeah, so the coolest mechanic it has is proximity chat. So you actually don't use Discord, you use in-game voice because you can say the ghost's name to anger it and you can ask it to do certain things.
And it, sorry.
The game recognizes?
Yeah, the game
Yeah.
recognizes you saying the word Andy.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it will get angry and come after you.
I know.
is angry.
I know. We've like.
It's Angry Andy.
We've come over like incredible technological feats, but we can do that.
Yes.
Really?
And it was like at the start, it was like I played the tutorial first. It's about like kind of a 20-minute tutorial that you have to do, that's actually super poor. Like it if I would have any like constructive feedback for the developers, it's that it needs a better tutorial because it doesn't do a great job of explaining sort of how it works and the equipment, and you have to kind of go back and forth from the truck that's parked on the street, and I was just a bit confused by it. But once you're kind of in the house together and doing stuff, you have to. You also have limited access to your equipment as well. So and when you do a good job. And complete objectives and stuff, you earn money to buy more gear.
Right.
So some of the things you have to do and then you have like a little journal that you have to note down your evidence findings that you can use in the kind of a lexicon of ghosts so that you can figure out what kind of ghost.
There's like, and it's cool because they are all the classic things. There's like a banshee and there's a like all the different types of there's poltergeist,
demon,
and
a
stuff.
djinn is one of them.
and can they hurt you?
Oh, you can die.
Oh, right, okay.
So what happens is you're kind of in there, you maybe set up a video camera, somebody goes back to the truck and is like, look, I can see some floating orbs on the camera. That signifies it could be one of these 5 ghosts.
It's like a process of elimination.
Yes.
It's like,
and
they do this,
and
but
then
not this.
I put like a book down and and if you leave the room, they might write in the book. And it's like, oh, well, if they've written in the book, it could be one of actually now these 3 ghosts.
Yeah, right.
And then
if it folds the top corner of the page, to remember where it was.
If it tears the book in half,
it's a chaos.
Sometimes you'll walk into a room and you'll see your breath.
Yeah.
Like the temperature has dropped.
Oh, right.
It got really cold.
Okay.
And you're like, okay, the ghost is probably...
Skip like 40 minutes.
Yeah, we'll do.
is probably the ghost is probably in this room, so you can stop it from hunting by putting down a crucifix. But because you're only using voice chat and we're all kind of like going into different rooms. All of a sudden, you can't hear someone.
Okay, so you were saying proximity.
Wow.
So can you hear muffled voices if they're in a different room?
You also have a radio, so you can talk over the radio. So that
fucked.
Yeah, so that you can talk to the person who's downstairs or out in the truck.
Game's fucked. Why?
Can I
would you do
suggest-
that?
But this is what's so terrifying is that what happens is all of a sudden someone's not talking and we're just like, Tom?
Are they gone?
Tom? And then you find this like mangled, twisted body at the bottom of the stairs and it's so scary.
To be fair though, I've met Tom Walker and that's what he looks like.
Okay,
yeah,
sorry,
right.
Very
that
limber.
scares the living shit
You've
out of
got
me.
to play it then.
We
You've got to play
we
it, Gus.
missed the whole Among Us thing slightly.
Yeah.
but I'm putting my hand up. We're doing this.
Oh, it's so fun.
4 of us, we're going to stream it somehow through one of us perspective.
Cancel the show.
No, but
And
this is the thing.
sometimes-
I hate this shit. I hate it. That is so interesting to play.
Sometimes because you're trying to identify what ghost it is, and to do that you have to anger it and get it to come out and do stuff. Otherwise, you're just kind of wandering around until one of you freaking dies.
Oh my God.
So when that happens, there's been occasions where you anger the ghost and then it locks the door, and then somebody will get locked in the room with the ghost, and you can just hear them screaming, being like, "The ghost locked the door! I'm in the room with the ghost!" And it's so terrifying. And another way that I wasn't expecting the proximity chat to be hilarious was that in this situation I was playing with Barjo and Mark.
The ghost is like, I want out. I want out.
Who, in our playthrough, developed a serious power issue with one another, and who was elected leader of the group.
Yep.
And at one point left the house and started having like a long argument in the truck. And
again, the ghost is inside being like...
Yeah, so Tom and I were like trying to solve this thing, and we were really like, we're going through the equipment that we had, and all the while, because of proximity chat, like in the distance, we could just hear these voices being like, "No, because you're undermining my leadership, and what I wanted was to be like, I'm trying to make this happen. I'm trying to make the group work together." And he's just like, "You locked me in that room on purpose, and I know you did," but it's just like really far away in the background, and it was so funny. I was like, "Guys, pull it together."
And this is the part of the game where you found the toilet ghost?
Well, one of the signs
Right.
is if you turn all the taps on, the water can go brown and dirty.
Oh.
And that's a signal of some. So somebody was checking the toilet water. But that's
Fair enough.
That's not a thing.
So just quickly to skip ahead, like, obviously the goal is to identify the ghost.
Yes.
Is there an end game there? Are you trapping it? Are you just identifying it and then
You're
leaving?
just identifying it and then leaving, and so but you don't know until after you've left.
If you got it right?
If you got it right.
Okay.
So you put all your evidence in, you're like, I think it's this ghost. You pack up the truck, assuming you're all alive still. Some of you might be dead.
Or it's one person carrying a lot of boxes going
Yeah.
like, well, the other
And
It's a
three
little
died.
bit like the Sherlock Holmes tabletop game.
Oh, I love that one.
Yeah. So if all
we
4 of you
played,
get out of
definitely.
there, you've all guessed the ghost correctly,
Yep.
and you've completed the optional objectives, then you get shit tons of money and you can buy all heaps of stuff.
Yeah, cool.
And then you kind of progress through to more.
Can you buy a new
exciting-
house and be like,
Well,
we're not moving in there now?
There are missions that you can progress to, like a haunted school or an asylum and stuff like
I mean,
that.
it's actually, when you break it down into a game like that, it just, there are so many tropes and cliches, but also like fun situations that might be boring to watch a crappy B-grade horror film in. But like
Yeah.
to say, hey, we're going to take a game and put it in all these locations and just take the best parts of all those terrifying horror movies.
a really great balance of just like simple but clever
Very.
and innovative game mechanics,
Yeah.
and also just like you make your own fun silliness that just makes it like you just keep going back. Even though we played through the same like 3 houses over
Yeah.
and over again, it didn't matter because we were having so much fun around.
Is it early access, sorry?
I don't think so. No, I just bought it.
it's out?
Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
I did see a bunch of people playing it. I feel like, I don't know, I'm definitely getting old where it's just this thing of all these sort of multiplayer co-op games that are taking off, and I'm just like,
Oh, it's so
Anybody
fun,
got time for
though.
that one.
You should, because there's a puzzle element to it too. You know, you have to work together to solve.
I think I
puzzle
like
of
the
the
idea
ghost.
of, I think playing a horror game with other people like that probably mitigates the real fear and just puts a lot of tension in it for me rather
Yeah.
than just being alone.
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe.
A lot of like spurts of laughter out of like nerves and all that kind of stuff when you work out what's
exactly.
happening, that kind of thing.
But then also the idea of actively having to walk away from your friends into different rooms, that's a choice. I would just be
Yeah.
the guy who's like,
Where are we going?
constantly be turning around, and I'd be there going like,
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like when you all die. Oh, that's the other thing is when you die, you lose any equipment you were carrying. So at one point we
Drop it or you lose it.
You lose it, so you don't get to
Klepto
take.
ghost.
You don't get to take it into the next round with you.
Oh, right.
oh, you
Which
go
means
from house to
at-
house.
Yeah.
Those are rounds.
Yes, those are rounds.
right,
Yeah.
okay.
So what happens is that at one point we all died and we all lost our flashlights, and then we were in this like spooky cabin, and like we had one torch, and so if we got split up, like people just got lost. So like I don't know where I am, and I can't get out. I can't find the door.
Question.
Yes.
I don't expect a real answer to this.
Yep.
But why is it that if you die and you drop equipment, you can't take it to the next round because it's lost, but you can be in the next round even though you're dead?
Video game.
Yeah, video games.
Okay, cool. Well, I'm glad. It looks very cool. It's kind of like when I did see, because I did see some people streaming this and sort of talking about it, and the thing that it made me think of was like Five Nights at Freddy's for adults.
Yeah.
Because it's
yeah.
that thing of like wandering around using this different equipment to kind of like find, coax out, and investigate a thing, whereas
Yeah.
Five Nights at Freddy's is just like,
only-
just that one spot flicking the monitors.
Yeah.
The one it
yeah,
reminds
yeah.
me of is Pete and I played a co-op ghost hunting kind of game a year or two ago called like the Midnight Club, I think it was.
Oh, yeah,
yeah.
It was like set. It was like Stranger Things kind of kids working at a mystery, and you were creeping around while all the parents were possessed and walking around. Again, like just a cool setting to be in a non-combative sort of horror survival setting in co-op, because it means you're not all racing to see who can get the most kills or who can be like, oh, I'm going to burst in there and clear that room before you do. It's like you'll catch each other, warning each other, being like, don't go in there, move around there. It adds a different level of cooperative play, or just a different vibe to it. Which
And
I
everyone
think-
kind of having a different skill set in this
Yeah.
instance, having different tools to detect the ghost or whatever.
My favorite thing was I had the EMF reader, which is like, detects,
Yeah.
ghost activity.
Electromagnetic.
And so I'd be having it out and I'd be like, oh, nothing's really happening. And then all of a sudden, it would just go nuts. And I'd be like, guys, it's happening. And everyone would be like, where are you? And I'm like, I think I'm upstairs in the thing. And then it's just like a painting falls off the wall. And then I can see my breath and I'm like, it's here with me, man.
Again, I hate horror, but you had my interest. Now you have my attention. I want to play this game. Oh,
Cool. Very cool. Okay, well, I look forward to watching you three play it. Angus, what have you been playing?
I played a couple of games this week. First and foremost, the one we talked about last week and even the week before that you put me on, Hades. I am loving it.
Yes.
Hades, which I'm playing on Switch, which runs beautifully on
does?
that. Oh, very silky smooth. There's not much else to say than we already talked about, or that you talked about in the last couple of weeks, and we played some last week. But everything that I love in a dungeon crawler, in a roguelike, I'm getting all those boxes are ticked. I'm finding that extra level of it in terms of the characters, the voices, the storytelling that's happening in between each run.
Yep.
Is just done so well. It's crafted so well. There's so many unique dialogue options every time you come back for different things that have happened that it keeps catching me out. The voice acting might be some of the finest voice acting I've ever heard in a video game.
And
I feel like a big part of that is to do with the fact that it's like they're having fun with these characters. They're these mythical gods, and they're being so brooding and sultry and sexy, and they're all like, I just totally think you were spot on when you said like, I want to sleep with all these characters.
I can't remember it exactly, but in the Discord, I think it was Argon posted how he felt about the sort of like the eroticism, I suppose, of the game, which was, it's like when you're looking for porn and you use the word love, and what you end up watching is two people in bed cuddling, and it's really wholesome, but they're still naked. And that's what that's the
That's
feeling.
such a specific thing that I've never done, but I totally agree with what they're going for there.
You've never searched for love when you look for porn.
That's my problem. I've never looked for love.
What weapon are you leaning to?
I'm running currently with the spear. Which is like, so the way it works is something we didn't really touch on, is that by getting keys, you unlock, I think, up to 5 weapons in total. And they really do change up the play style.
6.
They have 6?
Yep.
Yeah, right. They have a great different range of attacks, light and heavy. I think right now the person is playing with a shield.
Which is my favorite.
Oh, really interesting.
Yep.
I just unlocked that. The spear is a long distance stabby one, obviously, but it can be thrown and then retrieved back to you, doing damage on its way back, kind of Thor hammer-esque.
Which is good because one of the first upgrades you get is the backstab thing in the mirror.
The backstab, that's really good.
Yeah.
But again, it's that weird thing that I love this weapon so much. I don't want to risk a run with a new weapon and go, I'm not liking this, I'm wasting my time. I'm just at the end of the second area, Amarist, or the lava area.
Yep.
But I'm running into some bastard bosses right now. So the first one you run up against is Meg, one of the Furies, and she took about 3 runs to get through.
Is this fight?
I think, this fight that's happening. No, it is. It is.
Yeah,
100%.
it is. Yeah.
And it's like a single boss moving around a pretty big arena. The one thing I'm not loving about the game is that the amount of play area it's giving me later on, they're just ramping up the difficulty by giving you nowhere to move.
Well,
and
in that second world, the lava, all the areas are like split up.
The islands, and there's not much room to move.
Yeah.
So when there is just a lot on screen, screen happening at once, which is just unavoidable in games like this. I do get a little anxious when it's like, I'm trying to play well and smart, but it's just there's so many AoEs and things happening. Here again, there's enough room to move in this particular boss battle, but there's one happening where I'm fighting 4 Hydras at once on a tiny island, and I'm just like, there's literally nowhere to move. But what I do love is that usually that's a point where I would put one of these games down. However, the thing I've really taken on board is that you do level up your character in important and impactful ways. Like you can add enough buffs that you can become stronger, have revives, have heaps more health. So it's like, yeah, I can actually see myself not just through the boons that you get in each run, but actually upgrading the character well enough that it's like, it'll do that thing where I'll get to the point where this fight will be not easy, but I'll be like, oh, I remember the time I really couldn't get past this fight.
Well, I now get reliably like halfway through the 3rd stage.
Yeah, right.
And I mean, it's a small amount of skill, but it's not that I've just gotten so good at the game now.
Yeah.
It's because I've just leveled up my character.
Which I'm trying to think of, other roguelikes that don't have that in them or don't have them that accessible.
Spelunky.
Like a Spelunky. I think Dead Cells does in terms of some weapons, but you still start really back from scratch in terms of your health and your mana and that sort of stuff. So here I do like that there are some bigger perks that you're gaining for Zagreus, that can be like, an extra... Zagreus, thank you. What did I say?
Zagoff?
Said Zagoff.
Yeah.
That's what I'm going to call him from now on. There are more meaningful sort of level ups that you're getting that just make it a lot easier as you go on.
I thoroughly recommend trying the shield. It has a block, but its ranged attack, its special attack is like you fling it out like a frisbee and it bounces, and you can upgrade the bounce.
Yeah.
So it's great for the 2nd level where everyone's on different islands and it starts bouncing between them.
Oh, interesting. It's funny as well to get that perk or that boon that just makes a weapon suddenly feel indestructible. So for the spear, you can get a 3...
The prong.
Attack. So suddenly your area of attack is huge and you're doing a huge cone of damage. So, and you feel like, I can get to the end of the game on this, and then you'll run into a boss inevitably that you feel like,
And then there is, what I have started unlocking now is, I don't know how much, when you've killed Meg, has she dropped that, blood? Yeah.
Which you can infuse into a weapon?
Yeah, and then you can unlock the different, what's the word? They call it it's like talents or that's resolves or something.
Sure.
But basically changes the way that the weapon works. And I accidentally sunk 3 points into a shield one where I was like, oh, this will make it great. Accidentally did 3. And I was like, oh, that's fine. I wanted this one anyway. It's the worst one. It throws the shield out, and instead of being the bouncing between everybody, it just becomes this spinning blade whirling really slowly and does shit all damage. And I was like, I just wasted this unbelievably valuable map. But yeah, it's this game's phenomenal. This game is so in my top 3 of the year. So
I would agree.
Good. And I love that it plays well on the Switch because when later in the month they're gonna release the patch, the cross save, so that I can bring my PC save onto the Switch.
That's so cool. Yeah, I've not seen a bad word about this game online. People are
it's
loving
so good.
it.
I actually think that it's a game for people who don't even like roguelikes.
Yeah, cool.
Peter.
Just not interested.
Come on.
I don't see any. The more you talk about it, the less interested in it.
Okay. I just love it. What a magical technical world we live in now, where we can have cross saves and ghosts that can hear our names. It's incredible. Games. Amazing. And just quickly, the other game I've been playing after it was recommended last night by Spazros, who is who we did a logo for, who loves VR, is a game called Until You Fall. So that just came out yesterday on the Quest and PlayStation VR. And it is a hyper stylized, another roguelike, but in VR. And basically you carry around... carry around swords. It's a melee dungeon crawler where you move through stage after stage, wiping out progressively tougher enemies, moving towards a boss fight. But it is heavily reliant on the fact that you are using dual blades, both to block and to execute your enemies through particular swipes that you can see here. I've only played it for about an hour or two, and I really like it. I love the style that they've gone for. There's actually a pulsing synth soundtrack, which I just was not expecting with this game, that is on par with your sort of, your 80s cool synth vibe, but a fantasy sword and board kind of game as well. I just thought was a cool combination.
I'm not trying to troll you here. This looks like first-person Godfall.
Yeah, look, I'll give you that. But it's just got that thing where there's the cool soundtrack, there's these like neon colors everywhere, which I don't know if Godfall has enough of the color in it.
Oh, yeah.
But look, I was just keen to play a good sword fighting game on VR that there aren't a lot of. There's Sword and Sorcery, which is the one that isn't actually on Quest yet,
Yeah,
and that's
right.
the really super realistic one that people put heads on heads of swords and stuff. This is almost like a workout. I mean, it's VR. A lot of them are.
I'm so into that idea, especially like with, any sort of VR headset that's wireless.
Yeah, no, so that's what makes it great. And it looks really wonderful because it's not a port. It's made, I think, directly for these systems. So it does this thing where it's like it minimizes the graphics in the distance where they're not needed, but you look at the detail up close on the weapons.
Yeah, it looks nice.
It's got this cool thing, you grab a power up at the end of it, which one you want, and then you hold a trigger to crush it.
Oh,
so
cool.
it's just like a nice way to be like, I want that one, and then you
That's
just
super
like
satisfying.
well,
Yeah.
hopefully if they do it here, but it's just some fun little things like that. What I will say that was a real experience was that the first run or the tutorial of the game at the beginning has a thing where it's running you through these little stages. It's like, hey, here's how you can block. Here's how you can execute someone. Here's how you can dash. And it's like, great, thank you very much for teaching me. I'm kind of getting my hands. I'm getting the hang of it now, game. Thanks very much. And then it gets you to a boss area, and the boss gets killed by the biggest boss in the game, who is the one that you're actually trying to reach the end of the game to defeat. And it gives you a quick fight where it's a forced lose. So this happens in games in particular where they try to show you the big bad early on, and they let you
to be like, you're not going to face this now, but you should be scared about.
They literally, she's like, the voiceover is like, you shouldn't be fighting this now. You're not ready. And I was like,
This is the end of the game.
yeah. Well,
How did you get here?
Now, in any other game, you'll furiously flail about trying to take a little bit of health off that creature or boss or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Well aware of the fact that you don't have enough gear or perks or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And you'll see, maybe I could just, you don't know if it's one of those games that might let you do it or it's going to force you to die. Now, that's fine if you're button mashing in any other game. In VR, it is a whole different experience.
Yeah.
A VR sword game, you go into a furious, like you've just been learning how to block from left, block from right. And then this thing starts actually mauling you and all the like blocks all come up everywhere, and you very quickly go into a full anxious panic going, fuck, as you just like slash furiously around, and it's like, ugh. Then you die and it goes like, I think, what's it called again? Until you fall? It's like, until you fall. I'm like, oh, fuck you, game. Like, you knew this was going to happen, but you just made me have an absolute panic attack. And it wasn't pleasant, but then going back into it, obviously,
funny.
you start to build up as you go. And yeah, I haven't played anything in VR for a couple of weeks, and this was just a cool, very tailored experience that I'm going to keep playing for a little longer.
Yeah, nice.
So good suggestion from Spazraz. Thank you very much.
And it's on Quest, you said?
It is on
Yes.
Quest.
Okay, good.
And PlayStation VR. And I don't know if it is on Rift. I imagine most things that come on Quest often.
Can't imagine why it wouldn't. Yeah.
Yeah, but who knows?
Rattlesnake says, until you hit your ceiling fan.
Seriously. And it was that thing. It's like, hey, make sure you've got your right your guardian area and everything cleared. And I was like, no, I do. I totally do. But after that boss fight, I was like shins up against my dining room table or whatever. I was like, ooh, I have moved across the room a little here. So this is the boss fight. So yeah, not
Are we
very
going to
fair.
see the big boss rock up?
I think
We
this is
watch
the
it?
big boss, yeah. But I think this person
this is
might be
the-
ready to fight it or something similar. But this thing just mauls you furiously. I didn't know you could duck. There you go.
That's something.
Oh yeah, that's when you got to get your squat on.
Oh, yeah.
That always sucks.
But
You're gonna have to use your legs, your thigh muscles for this one.
yeah, just glad to be back playing a bit of VR at the moment. So it's good fun.
Nice.
Yeah, cool.
Nicholas.
So this actually looks super cool, and I would be into this if it wasn't for the fact that it's a roguelike, because I am currently playing 2 roguelikes. I just can't. I need some sense of actual progression.
Some direction and progression.
Yeah, because I keep dipping into Hades, obviously, but I keep dipping into Spelunky 2, and I'm just thoroughly enjoying that, and it's lovely to just have that as the little thing that I dip into. So, we were making the show this week. We were doing the playback, and we were trying to figure out what we were going to play because we were recording on a Tuesday. We didn't have codes for Squadrons, or we didn't have codes for Crash Bandicoot yet, and we didn't have, nothing was kind of out that was interesting, and blah, 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 blah.
Our life is tough.
It is very hard, and we kind of pigeonholed ourselves into playing something on that day. So we ended up recording Metal Gear, which you will see, which we'll explain in the episode why that happens, and it's a very fun episode. Don't worry about it. I had seen the name of this game that I have now been playing since then, and I had dismissed it like a fucking.
This was in the list of potential
of
first plays.
games that are out.
It came up and you went, no.
Literally,
Yeah.
I was like. Anime sucks.
Indie Mouse is watching at the moment, and I'm sure he's watching. He's gonna see the game that you say and go like, "Oh, I've already made 12 videos about that."
Yeah, Indie Mouse is definitely making a video about some characters of this game.
You need to have anime sucks written on a t-shirt and you can just wear it to conventions just to trigger people.
Oh, I would get killed. The game that I have been playing the most this week is Genshin Impact.
Okay.
Which is an atrocious name for a video game. But this game is Zelda Breath of the Wild. It is free to play, RPG. It's a gacha game.
A what?
Like where it's like just loot box, like combine 5 things to make a super powered thing, roll, like open up a loot box and you get 5 fighters that you then re-roll and get 5 new fighters. It's like it's a mobile phone free to play, buy microtransactions. Games often play themselves kinds of thing.
Sure.
Oh, gotcha. Simple. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like it's one of the like think about Japanese mobile game.
Yeah,
That's what
when
it
you said
is.
mobile games,
Yeah,
I was like, no,
right.
okay, I get that.
So this is
So what were you playing this on?
So it's on PS4. I think it's on Xbox. It's on PC, and it's on mobile, and it's all cross-play, cross-save. So I have been playing on
What a
PC
world we live in.
on my widescreen monitor, this game that so far I've not encountered any of the microtransactions. It's this open world RPG, free-to-play Zelda thing, and then I quit out of it, and I pick up my phone, and I open it up, and it is exactly the same game, and I am exactly where I was, and I just continue playing on my phone.
That's crazy.
It's wild.
wow.
So then what the game is like the typical anime bullshit of like a thing is attacking a town, and you are a girl who seems to have lost her pants, and like you're the only one who can stop it. Seriously, the
Character animations too are so twee.
Totally.
This was on a Nintendo Direct, I think. Is it
Oh yeah,
Switch?
it's coming to Switch as well.
Yeah, it was on a
Coming-
Nintendo Direct, and it was very much like they were all running around. The camera was far too low for how short.
But
Yeah,
the Switch is where I'm definitely going to play this game when the Switch version comes out. So what happens is it's a game built around elemental powers. So you have lots of like water, fire, whatever, and you start as one character, and then you pick up another.
Did you see that
character.
massive fail?
I can't take it seriously.
Oh,
when
sorry,
I'm
it
just
was-
looking at like tiny chunks of thigh underneath buttock.
Yeah, sorry. Go on.
So you start playing as one character, you get another character to join your party. The way that the combat then works when you have a party is that you play as someone, you cast a spell, and then you hit on like on mouse and keyboard, you hit like 1, 2, 3, 4 to switch between, to basically hot switch between characters. Your character then like disappears and turns into the other one straight away, and then you use your abilities to interact with the elements that you've already cast out.
down.
So it's like Spellbreak or whatever
yeah.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
But you're playing a full party one by one by yourself. That works phenomenally well. The combat is actually really, really fun. The world is huge. It has the climb anywhere Zelda thing. It has dungeons that you go into. It has the
has
glide
Zelda
anywhere Zelda
pillars.
thing. It has the cook anywhere Zelda thing. Like it's fucking Zelda.
Cook
Breath of the
anything,
Wild.
cook anywhere.
Both. But there are tons of quests. It has a really fascinating. What was that noise?
That were my squeaky shoes. Sorry, everyone.
Oh, right. I thought it was you going.
That was my reaction to the game.
Being excited.
So and then basically it's like go through this world and save it. But like I said, actually all the different parts of this game are really, really well done. I have yet to hit any real horrible microtransaction stuff, and you could absolutely get through the game, it seems like, without it because it gives you enough currency. It's kind of astonishing that this game is just free, and it's not as good as Breath of the Wild, but it takes all the great things from Breath of the Wild and sort of adds it. It's also coming before Immortals, and it's like, oh, this is like on everything, free, scratching a lot of those same itches. I don't know.
Right.
It's like I'm thinking about it now, and I want to go back and play it because it's just like a game that makes me happy right now. It's just a happy game
right.
to be in. Even though the anime bullshit story, which is just like not my kind of anime, where it's like some girl ran an ice cream stand and murdered everybody in their family or whatever the fuck happened in Zero Time Dilemma. But it's actually like, oh no, the 6-year-olds need to save the village anime. But it's
not that we've-
fucking hella fun.
I haven't seen anything here, but
Looks visually very cool.
So beautiful.
Cutscenes and stories stories and characters? Like, was there a little bit of that at the front end?
Yeah,
'Cause
there's
now all
tons.
I've
There's
seen-
lots of cutscenes and and it's not too repetitive and stuff.
Yeah, okay.
I'm quite shocked that I had no idea about this game, but apparently when it got announced in 2019 in China Joy at that conference,
Oh yeah.
it got revealed, and it was so clearly inspired by so much Breath of the Wild stuff that, and it got announced for PS4 there, that angry Breath of the Wild fans took to social media and broke their PlayStation 4s. And posted clips on Twitter.
Like
to go,
in protest?
Yeah, like how dare you steal from Breath of the Wild?
Yeah.
Which is very funny.
Yeah, interesting. Someone in the chat mentioned before, they're like, sorry, Nick, I'm going to keep waiting for
Hyrule Warriors.
Slowpoke was saying Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity.
And A. Timothy said it's by the same people who made Honkai Impact.
Yes.
Which apparently was...
Which I had
a
never
mix
heard of.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But as Slowpoke said, like, I think I would happily wait for that because I'd like my Zelda to be real Zelda, and it looks like this is a bit more taking on mobs, large powers, and a bit more intense combat, which is what Hyrule Warriors looks a bit more like.
Well,
but I can
an
see
RPG, and that's more like that broad.
That is a warrior.
Yeah,
That is a-
totally.
yeah,
This is like
Dynasty Warriors
quests
kind of
and
thing.
upgrade your weapons and cook and get stamina buffs and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, and this is the gacha stuff. This is the like you've rolled a loot box
Sure,
now.
yeah,
This
okay.
is what you got. But yeah, I am actually really into this game. I think the cross-platform stuff is really cool. There's fucking 100 million people playing this game right now.
Yeah,
It's
wow.
wild. Yeah. So very fun. Very fun. If you can get past
Very
just
strange.
how no one has pants.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. No, all the men have pants.
Aesthetically,
That
I really
makes sense.
struggle with this kind of stuff because, like, even when I'm playing a standard, like, I suppose medieval Western inspired RPG, I never like to play as a mage because I don't want to wear a robe.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, look at this.
But look at that, like, you can wear
like,
a
I wanna-
bathing
I-
suit and a hat.
I want to play like a rogue or something because I want some cool like leather outfit or whatever. So the idea of wearing like a weird little mage dress and a floofy hat
That's the librarian.
makes me really
That's what librarians
angry.
look like in this world.
I want with that. That's sick.
Yeah, you can wear that.
Oh, that's all right.
So see
Pants.
up the top all the characters. So that's this person's party. So they can hot switch between these people.
Yeah.
And that combat stuff works really, really well. It's
Yeah, cool.
super cool. All the elemental stuff that combine. But like even those are Breath of the Wild fucking gobby goblin things. Whatever.
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
called. Hobgoblins.
Gobbies.
Gobbies.
Gobby
Yeah.
gobbies.
All right.
Not
Good.
called
Okay.
that at all.
So that's what I've been playing. And
Hobokins?
Yeah.
Hobokins.
Indie Mouse in the chat says it's not that sexual though. And yes,
it's
it
not.
is.
It's more that it's. Well, I mean, yeah, it is, but it's also like kind of infantile. Like, and I get them meant to be young, but it's just like weird little girl dresses. And
Yes,
like
which
them-
is 1,000%.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you're never going to get around that.
It's not as bad as that Korean MMO that came out ages ago. Do you remember that?
Black Mirror, was it?
No, it
Oh,
wasn't
no.
Black Mirror.
Black Desert
It
was,
was
Black
one of
Desert.
them, but then there was also that other one.
It was like they had like bunny ears, and it was like
Yeah, I
weird,
remember when
like
you told
sticking
me.
their butts out and stuff like that. What was it called?
I don't remember.
All I
gotta look at
remember,
it briefly
all I
more,
remember is
yeah.
that like side-scrolling.
Somebody in chat will know.
There was that side-scrolling, really painterly drawn one that had like the witches with the big hats, but they had like the biggest breast you'd ever seen in a video game. Do you remember that one? It was
Terra.
like,
It was Terra.
Terra.
is that the one I'm thinking
Terra.
of?
No, Terra's the...
The one I'm thinking of was like stupid, and all the characters were just so endowed that it was just like, what was the artist thinking here? They were like, I'm going to get away with
But
it.
I'm backing up Harlow in the chat. We can all agree Honey Pop is a great game and can't wait for Honey Pop 2. Yeah, but free to play.
Dragon
cool.
Crown. Dragon Crown is the one I'm thinking of.
So yeah,
I remember
I'm a
Dragon
massive
Crown.
fan of this. And I encourage you to check it out if you're looking for something to scratch that Breath of the Wild itch.
Physics.
Okay, good.
They
That's
were
it.
bigger than her whole body
How are we
combined.
still talking about the breast?
Sorry, it was like, I would say famously, the worst.
Famous breast.
These are like the worst video game overcompensating breasts in the history of video games.
Had their own physics. separate
They were,
to the
and
rest
they
of
went
the
to
body.
here on
Yeah.
her, and she just stood there and like it was this
Moved
weird like.
independently of each other.
It was like, what was that game? What was that?
I seem to remember like the devs doing an interview and talking about how much effort they'd put into the jiggle physics as well. It was like this
God.
triumph of code.
Alrighty, well, that's what we've been playing. We are about to be joined by John Raskopoulos.
Hooray!
Join us on the
Hey,
show.
Jordan!
So we'll get her on the line, and in the meantime, please enjoy a very quick word from some of our sponsors. I see a bunch of familiar names in the chat. And Nigrotex, who we've drawn a logo for, said just before the stream started, got my ice cream, got my weighted blanket, let's go. It feels like a very snug way to watch.
Very safe space to be in to
wanna
watch
try a weighted
a very naughty show.
What
I'm
is...
going to infiltrate that weighted blanket.
What the hell? This game is Metal Gear Solid. I've never played Metal Gear Solid before, and so this is a new series that we're going to start, and we're just going to play games that we should have played and we didn't.
What's the situation, Snake?
Alrighty. Press up against this. Oh, I don't know the controls. Slow and subtle. Okay, well at least we know that. X is punch, punch, kick. That's crouch. That's dab. Maybe hug. Dead. No, he's not. He's alive. They're all alive. Everyone's alive. So I'm guessing I should just sneak. Ah!
It's a skill game.
Yeah, but I got discovered. I don't know what you expect me to do.
Snake!
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 Fucking coffee. Fuck.
Itself popping up in the main show. It'll pop up possibly in some backplays. The idea is it will circulate as part of our media and part of your representation and something fun that we can always have to smile at when we see.
Pete, give him a single. Listen, you piece of shit. Welcome back, and thank you very much to Nigrotex and Clumps for the two word from our sponsors. The Clumps we've seen before, still magnifique. Nigrotex. Oh, love it. A joy. I had not seen that. That was a delight.
I nearly died when I saw that. It was so funny.
That was very exciting. And also very exciting, we are joined by Jordan Raskopoulos and the Falcor. Is
Yeah.
your Falcor? The OG Falcor? Who's Falcor?
Yeah, I don't think Falcor belongs to anybody. I think Falcor is Falcor's own self.
True,
people's.
true. The people's Falcor. The people's luck dragon.
Yeah.
I'll make a
Collective.
confession. I've never seen the Neverending Story, so I have no idea like what Falcor is.
Can I make my confession? I, up until only a few years ago, have had a chronic fear of Falcor. It was just, I was traumatized as a kid. He scared the shit out of me.
Oh,
and
why?
it's more to do with the fact that he's got like far too articulate eyelids and nostrils for a puppet or for a creature. And lips
Yeah.
and teeth and roars and just did something to me. But thankfully, Jordan, your streams
You've
have
tamed
me
it,
around.
Jordan. How does it feel to ride?
I mean, look, I understand, but Falcor is like at most the third scariest thing in that film.
That's a good point.
Swamp,
The swamp
there's
is
that
the
giant
scariest.
wolf
The swamp
thing,
is
The wolf thing.
snail. Snail.
The weird like honor test that zaps you into oblivion.
That?
Yeah.
The little girl?
And the solution was to just run faster.
You're right, that was the shittest way to get through that. Just go fast.
It's one of those
Yeah, just
films that,
run.
like, as a lover of a lot of 80s classics, like The Dark Crystal and The Princess Bride and Labyrinth and Willow, I would say that that A Never-Ending Story doesn't hold up as well.
Yeah, right. I could see that. I could see that it's one of
Yeah.
those movies that, like, and having not seen it, coming to as an adult fresh, I would just be like, what the fuck is this?
It's
Whereas
got-
I could watch The Princess Bride if I'd never seen it before and be like, that's a good movie.
Yeah.
I mean, we shouldn't keep shitting on the film while
Yeah.
Jordan literally rides on the...
Oh, it's
I could
iconic.
do. I'll do some other nostalgia. if you like.
Hey, talking.
Is it these ones? It's those ones. Oh, man.
Very
awesome.
cool.
How are you, by the way? Sorry, we've just segued.
Well, you just chat amongst yourselves about my overlay. No, I'm well. I'm very well. I don't know. Yeah.
You said you had a few technical hiccups this morning as well, which I feel like you've passed on to us because Pete's still red in the face from
yeah.
a couple of...
That's all me.
It's all Pete. It's all Pete. So
I spread it to you,
we
if
got there.
anything.
which you would clearly have because, as we're seeing right now, like, there is a lot going on in your streams to the point that... Yeah, sorry, I watch them now in absolute awe. And please, tell us more.
Look, I when I kind of worked out I could do whatever I wanted on Twitch, and that I just had to work out how. And there, oh look, it's a little follow. It gets a goose. Because like a lot of the things that I want to do on Twitch, there aren't necessarily tools built for it. So to make like interactive overlays and animations and all that kind of nonsense, I kind of had to like jury rig a whole bunch of alert systems together. And I've got multiple stream decks and my process is running at 96%, but we'll be right.
That's a scary figure, isn't it? Like,
It is.
mine is currently at 90. I'm at 90.
Yep.
I'm on a clean 90. It's like, there's not much room for wriggle
You've got
room there, is
Twitch
there?
neck, which is while you're talking, you're doing this. You're like...
Yes.
Well, your background is in comedy and music, and you've got lots to work with. Did you kind of, when you were kind of thinking about Twitch, did you originally think there'd be a space for all that kind of stuff, or were you just like, I'm just going to start gaming and see where it goes?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was just I was going to start, like, I've been on Twitch a year and a week now, and when I started, it was like, oh, the Goose Game is good. I could do a voice for the Goose as I played the Goose Game, and that was sort of my first stream. And
Look at your alerts still going on.
Rat bags. Found the other alert system. That's one of my mods who has used their own emojis to troll me. Put pictures of me in the Matrix. But yeah, and then so over time I sort of started building alerts, and then I thought, they got sillier and sillier, and I just kind of added more and more to the channel, and now it's just kind of this huge blend of comedy and nostalgia and pop culture. And once I realized I didn't have to game all the time, and I could sometimes do a theatrical reading of The Matrix, or I could do like a whole stream of just like dancing to Star Trek theme songs. It's great, and it's like, I will do what I want, and if you like it, you can hang out, and if you don't like it, there's plenty more to see.
And are you like, because I'm so jealous of your incredible ability to create these elaborate scenes of, as you say, like pop culture references and things like that. Are you entirely self-taught with all that stuff?
Yeah, absolutely. One of the other things that happened with me in the last year was I got diagnosed with ADHD, and I realized that the best way for me to learn is to teach myself things that I can't learn from someone else teaching me. It's just work it out.
That's
Yeah, jump in the deep end.
awesome.
Yeah.
You've also done streams that like act as kind of tutorials for making content like that. Is that right? I haven't seen one of them
totally.
yet, but I'm
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
excited at that because I'd love to learn some of that stuff.
Sometimes to just motivate myself to actually work on the channel and make new stuff, I'll just be like, well, people can watch me do it, and we'll chat about it. But I think, one of the things since lockdown, there are a number of comedians, particularly in Australia, who are kind of turning to Twitch as a place to create stuff, and it's a hybrid of what we've done in the past live and what the channel kind of expects and what the culture expects. And I think there are a lot of comedians, myself included, who are kind of falling into that kind of misery streamer genre where people can torture you with very loud sound effects, or or to wear some kind of hat, or I've ordered a big bag of fart bombs from Wish, and I thought maybe people could set these 3D print some kind of device so people can set them off in my room. But then I smelled one, and they are. I think they're actually poison. I think they're poison.
Yeah,
so I'm not gonna
anything
do
you
that.
order from Wish is going to kill you. It doesn't matter what it is. It's trying to kill
Also,
you.
like, it's, I mean, very difficult to remove that scent.
Yeah.
You, like, it sticks it into the walls and the fabric of your life.
And your Falcor.
and fabric of time.
And look, you actually can't shampoo a Falcor. You have to actually dry clean a Falcor.
That makes sense.
okay.
Just so
Yeah.
expensive.
It is.
You need to
It's
get in some of
outrageous.
those like wet dry carpet cleaner people where it's like, I'm just going to leave for the day and I've moved everything to the side and then just have at it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My local Woolworths, you can rent a steam
Yes.
cleaner. So
Gus, what's your joke about cleaning fabric?
About cleaning a large luck dragon. I'd use the carpet spray one where you spray it and it foams out, and you just brush that out.
that's good
You
too.
brush that out later. That's less of a joke and more actual practical knowledge for
okay,
when
good.
you.
Yeah.
Right. Dry shampoo. Dry shampoo.
There you go.
Shampoo.
Yeah.
No, I was going to say dry shampoo. I mean, also don't get a white luck dragon. Like it'll stain.
Yeah,
Like
that's true.
you want a luck dragon that's made out of the fabric that they use on like train seats.
Right,
Where it's
yeah,
like all
so you
mottled,
don't see
and
any
it
of
doesn't
the-
matter if someone stains it, you won't notice.
Yeah.
Is that why it's that god awful design? Just so it like hides.
Yeah,
Of course.
movie theaters, everything.
Yeah,
Yes.
right.
I can't believe you didn't know that.
you're the designer.
Yeah.
No, I've seen people.
like-
Why
It's
would
like
anyone
naval
deliberately choose
camouflage.
that carpet?
But now people like ironically buy that in jumpers and stuff, and I'm like, it's gone to the point where it's just it's too much of a joke now to be taken seriously.
People who know Jordan would probably know this already, that Jordan is famously part of the Axis of Awesome, but you may not know that Jordan also recently broke a world record live on stream. Do you want to tell us a little bit about how that came
I
about?
did.
And do we want to break
the
it
longest-
right now?
Do you have the time? So I do some Twitch sings because I sing and I like to do Twitch sings. And I noticed one of my community members pointed out that the song that doesn't end from Lamb Chop's Play Along is on Twitch sings, and there's an Easter egg that if you start playing it, it doesn't finish.
That's funny.
So I thought I will try and set a world record for the longest performance, and I found the longest performance I could find was 2.5 hours, and so I did it on Twitch, and I went for 5 hours 32 minutes.
Oh my god!
I tuned in at several points, and I knew that the world record that you were trying to break was 2 hours something. So I was like, okay, so she only has to get to 2 hours and something and one or whatever to break the record.
You want to break it? You want to smash it?
Sure, but 5 hours?
Yeah.
That was wild. I tuned back in and I was like, she's still going. Oh my God.
I think that-
and your voice was starting to get really hoarse, and you were just like, and you were doing different voices to try and like keep
I
it
was.
fresh for yourself. So you'd be like,
I was just like,
continue singing it forever just because.
I'm like, I'll do Gollum for a bit because it pushes my voice to the front of my mouth where I can rest the back of it. But I think the crazier people than me were the people who stayed for the entire thing.
Oh, totally. Because like at least you had a purpose for doing it. You're like, well, I'm going to get some sort of recognition out of this. This is a personal triumph.
I also raised money for 2010. which
And
is
you're raising money,
LGBT
but people
organization.
watching are just hearing that thing drilled into their head for 5 hours. And
Sorry, with a lovely voice, drilled by
you.
an angel.
yeah, but still,
More than there's not a lot to the song, so it's like
No, once
So
you
I
hear the
wouldn't know.
verse, you know it.
I'm also just looking forward to that album being released, drilled by an angel.
and so do you? Is it an official record? Like, have you?
Is this a Guinness thing?
How do you get that verified?
I've sent the VOD off to Guinness, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
I think there are ways to like get Guinness on board before the event, but as I mentioned earlier in the interview, I have ADHD, so it'll get organised the day before.
I was going to say, I highly encourage anyone to go and watch that VOD if they can deal with the fact that will then be stuck in their head for at least the next week. What made you stop at the end? Obviously, if you fast forwarded to the end.
Yeah, so there was like a point where I was like, once I got past 3 hours, I hadn't planned, and then people started going, so how long is Jordan going to go for? And the mods are like,
because you weren't able to type at all while you were singing, were you? Because it's like
I mean, at one point the clock stopped working, so I had to fix that while I was singing. But I couldn't really communicate properly with people. But I also didn't really have it in my head when I was like, I'll stop when I'm done. And I got to a point where I was like, I have sung at very many festivals, and I've sung for every night for a month. I've never sung for more than 2 hours. I don't know what I'm actually doing to my voice at this point. I didn't do any research. Like, what happens once you sing for 5 hours? So I thought, okay, once the stream numbers dip below kind of 300-ish, then I think then probably sometime we can start winding it down. And then sort of at 5 hours they hadn't, and then Cardboard Cowboy rated me, and then I was like, well,
Oh no, that's the problem.
Just
If your
gonna
numbers
keep going then. Okay, yeah, if Cowboy's here, let's get some party. And then I thought once I doubled it, I'm like, okay. all right, I've doubled
And again,
it.
I'm going to go and check out the stream and skip to the end, because is there any way to tell everyone that this is the last time you're going to do the verse?
So the thing was, I just rated out. Like, I just kept singing and rated out. And then the raid had finished, and then I just stopped after like 10 seconds. It felt really weird to stop. I didn't know. I felt like I didn't have permission to stop, and I didn't know, like, what is my life if I'm not singing this song?
I've forgotten how to live again.
Because I imagine after 5 hours, it becomes quite like mechanical for your body to be doing that.
It's like breathing.
Yeah.
Like stopping breathing. And then I took the VOD and I uploaded the VOD on YouTube. And the VOD obviously doesn't have the raid, so it's just me going, and it goes on and on, my friends.
What an anticlimax.
And we're done.
and then a moment of like real existential dread on your behalf of like, am I allowed to stop?
Yeah.
That's hilarious. Well, congratulations on that.
And I played Steve Thieves for 2 hours afterwards.
I also I admire it because it's also one of those things where like you flick through the Guinness World Records and you go, a bunch of it, it's like, well, I guess I could do that, but it requires a level of
fortitude.
Exactly. It's like a stamina thing of just going. But I guess you could walk with a table clamped between your teeth of any size for 100 meters longer than the person who holds it. But like, do you want to be doing that? And the fact that you actually committed and smashed it, so that the next person who comes along is like, it used to be 2, it's now 5 and something. That's like a real 5 is daunting.
Yeah.
2 is achievable. I feel like.
Yeah, I felt when I said to people that the record was 2, they're like, "Oh, you can beat that," and they're like, "You went for 5?" I have some friends who are magicians, and there's like once or twice they've told me how they've done certain tricks, and I was like, that is so much work to do something so simple and quick that no one will ever consider. And that's why we're magicians, because we're willing to do that.
I was going to play a game with you because I said, we had Jen's on a couple of weeks ago, and we did a Friends quiz with her because she loves the TV show Friends. So I was like, okay, we'll do it. And then I asked you, what do you like? What do you feel like you could be quizzed on? And you would feel pretty confident. You said Warhammer 40k, and I was like, okay, cool. I don't really know anything about Warhammer, so I'll put together some questions. And then I started looking at Warhammer 40k, and I couldn't even put together questions where it's like I could ask this with any semblance that how dare I be the judge of what you think is right about Warhammer? Because I was like, I'm confused just looking at the website. So instead, you were like, I feel confident in the Warhammer lore. Can you just give me, I want in like 60 seconds, can you just tell me the Warhammer 40k lore? Because I just, you're a storyteller, you're a Warhammer nerd. I feel like you could do this. Okay. And then next time you're on, I'll put together the quiz because I'll feel relatively confident.
And it doesn't have to be in this style, but obviously, for anyone who doesn't know, you've done a TED Talk before. You were on the Lenovo debates recently. Hearing you have a spiel about something is hypnotic and very engaging. Okay. So I'm not putting the pressure on.
I was about to say, no pressure.
No pressure that it has to be in the style of a TED Talk, perhaps.
TED Talk.
She hasn't prepared anything.
But I feel like this is something she'd know enough of that she could do this on a whim.
I feel like I could. Let's see how we go.
And so I've set a timer for 60 seconds, and when it goes off, you will hear. You're going to hear
the song that doesn't end.
Space Marines.
You're going to hear the night owl effect. So your 60 seconds to explain Warhammer 40k in all its complexity starts now.
It is the year 30,000 and the great Imperium of Man stretches amongst the stars. The Emperor creates 20 Primarchs to lead his space marine legions. Half of them betray him and become the traitor Marines and fall to the legions of chaos. 10,000 years later, there is a dark age of technology. Humans worship machines as gods. There is only war amongst the stars. Great Xenos threaten humans. Humans threaten humans. There are traitors. There are heretics. There is only war. That's it. That's it. There's orcs, there's space orcs.
And time to
space
kill.
elves.
That was amazing.
23 seconds to spare, and also very epic when you're on the Falcor.
I was going to say.
Looking back at right, like you're shouting and raining down hammers, I assume, on people. The last question I have is are there orcs?
Yeah.
Yeah. So are they the ones that can
with a K.
wish anything into reality?
They do. Their understanding of science is based purely on the belief that they understand science. And so they build things, and like there are rules in the game that if your vehicle is painted red, it goes faster, simply because orcs believe that red things go faster.
That's fucking cool.
That's very funny.
Amazing. What a handy skill and belief system.
It's very handy. And so the one thing, so I'm literally, because I was like, maybe I could do she tells me what faction she thinks she would be, and then there's 10 questions, and then it's revealed, that you do those online quizzes of which faction would you actually be. All of this was incredibly complicated. But after spending an hour just looking through Warhammer 40k lore, the only thing that stood out was that one fact about the orcs. And my question was, why don't they just imagine that they win the war? Like, why don't they just imagine...
They do. And that's the thing, is you can't let too many orcs amass together, because then their war power they will eventually overwhelm everyone.
Oh my
the orcs
God.
are best.
Wow.
That's amazing. And then I also saw another fact
Just
about it
purely
is
out
that
of-
But also orcs fight too much amongst themselves.
It's
Yes.
it's
there's
basically like the orcs founded the secret and have manifested their
Totally.
way to success and
Totally.
world domination.
There's a great story. So there was a game they made called Gorka Morka, which was basically Mad Max with orcs. And the whole idea was these orcs crashed on this planet, and then so they had to rebuild their spaceship, and they rebuilt this huge spaceship and got ready to leave the planet. And then half of them decided that the spaceship was called Mork, and the other half decided that it was called
Mindy.
Gork. So they tore the spaceship apart and started fighting amongst themselves.
Incredible. Well, thank you very much. I think we've all learned something. And Sweephead in the chat said, my boyfriend is into 40k, and Jordan's explanation was the most interested I've ever been in 40k. So I think you saved a relationship.
Yeah, send me your girlfriends. I'll make them gamers.
Well, thank you very much for joining us, and let the people know where they can watch you, where they can follow you, if you've got anything coming up that you want to promote.
Yeah, you can find me on Twitch on the Jordan Rasco channel. What are we doing? We're playing games. We just replayed Goose Game. We do weekly readings of The Matrix, and we are about to start playing Hades as well.
Nice.
Also,
So cool.
Jordan recently had an all-female game of Among Us, and something quite unique happened in that game as well. Jordan, is that right?
Oh yeah, game bugged out, and there were no imposters for one round. So we all just ship.
They all just
And
fixed
then-
the ship.
and-
They all just
game ended
fixed
in-
That is
the ship.
That is
Like
so
orcs.
fucking.
Game ended and it had 10 winners. That was
God,
crazy.
that is so funny. That is, I have argued that for I've had massive conversations of just like, have you noticed how like women never start wars with each other? And like maybe if they were just in control, things could get just balanced a little more. And then you put is it 8 players?
10.
You
Well,
put 10 players together in a room, and suddenly they fix the video game.
It was the naming of the ship at the end that really tore them apart, wasn't it?
Is that?
Yeah, we wanted-
Oh right, I didn't get that.
Yeah.
But
Half of them wanted it called Gork, and the other one
there you go. Okay, that's all right. Well, thank you very much for joining us, and we'll talk to you later.
Thanks, Jordan. Cheers.
See you later.
All right, later.
I didn't want to ask while she was on the show.
Yeah.
Is that a real Falcor? Yeah. Like, is she got a puppet, or is that just?
It's a looped bit of the footage of the movie.
From the
Because the film Falcor was shot on probably blue screen.
yeah, right.
And then there's a kid on a rocking saddle.
I mean, it's Artax
Artax.
rides it for the majority, and then the boy rides it at the end when he gets back at the bullies by like scaring them with the giant dragon, which is the lesson everyone learnt at that age. It's if you want to get back at the kids who bullied you, at
Terrify
school,
them.
Just terrify them with a large puppet.
Because I was like, if she does have just a big puppet with fur and she's got Steph's hair fan, then you basically have produced the same effect. Okay, let's do very quickly, because we've been talking about doing talkbacks for so long.
Yes.
We always run out of time. We'll do one question.
Okay.
I tried to do it at the start of the show.
You did.
Didn't you?
Artax is the horse. That's true.
Okay, hang on.
Was it?
Atreyu.
Atreyu. Don't give me like they've. Okay, this is first of all, it's a classic Gusism just to mix all the names up and get everyone wrong. But also like Artax and Atreyu, they're kind of similar.
Similar names, yeah.
Oh, it's just him screaming. And sorry, just to quickly go back on this, like Nick, you should watch this film and you should wait like years and years and years until you let your kids watch it as well, because it is a damaging film.
Yeah.
There's the bit with the horse that you know and you've seen it.
You'll know it as well, surely. You would
The
have
horse
seen
sinks in something?
Yeah.
Into the swamp of sadness because it's just so sad.
Yeah.
That stuff will mess your kids up for years to come. So just really like.
And
get
that's
prepared.
my job.
I think when I watched that as a kid, you see a shot of him riding the horse at the end, and I took that to believe that the horse came back.
You do. He just brings everything back, and it's like nothing ever happened.
So
but
it's
that's
fine,
Oh well,
ultimately.
yeah. Okay, we'll watch the scene after this and see if you don't
but,
even get.
I
a little
remember
tear.
like that being like a big deal. Like for me, is that resolution at the end being like the horse is fine, everyone. The horse is fine.
I may have stopped watching it at a certain point, like and not gotten to the end.
Story ended.
Story end.
I'm just impressed that the horse can ride a Falcor. All right, welcome to the Talkback. Let's bring it up. The Talkback, of course, is the segment brought to you by Slow Punk. Punking, Steph, is like painting. It's an art, not a science. And you can't rush art, just like you can't rush punking. So when you're done getting the absolute living shit punked out of you, head on down to Slow Punk. He'll punk you so slow, you won't even be sure that you're being punked at all. Slow Punk. Has it happened yet?
Oh, it just did.
Well, that was good. That was a good one. That was a good,
Well
good
done, sir.
evolution of the punk spiel.
I gotta tell you, it's my favorite part of the show. Just writing those. And I like the fact that all of them are now written except for Loki Cat, who just rolls with a messed up stream of conscience every time we start
that's right.
the show.
Yeah.
Okay, so this question comes in from That's Not My Robot. Games that you don't finish. What percentage of games that you start do you actually finish? Are you a chronic game not finisher? How do you motivate yourself to actually finish games? Does finishing a game even matter anymore?
Great question.
I thought it was a really good question.
Really good question.
It stays very busy.
I think if my life had taken a different turn and I had not worked in video games, the way I consume games would be very different. Like, I think I would be spending money on, like, a very narrow... I think just in my time on Good Game alone, it forced me to broaden my horizons to a range of genres that I probably never would have experimented with. It's like I'm talking about my teenage years.
I dabbled with a little JRPG, and we've all.
It was a wild, crazy time. Yes.
Sometimes I just watch two games play themselves.
But yeah, I think I would have stuck with like just RPGs and just like a very specific set of games that I liked and like probably finished them because I would have consumed far fewer games and of a very like singular genre. And I'm not sure that I would have developed the same like online groups of friends that I play with and stuff like that. It would have been a sad, dismal time is what I think.
Yeah, and probably like you'd be the worst example out of all of us of someone who's like had a history of having to play a lot of games and therefore really not being able to finish as many of them. Me and Nick in a close second, and Pete sort of like, it's that thing of through the work we've done, it's been part of the job is to be staying on the front foot and therefore not being able to finish a lot of stuff. So I wanted to ask, like, how many games a year do you reckon you finish? Because I'm in single digits easily.
Yeah,
like
sure.
well and truly under 5. Like if I really finish a game.
But I guess it's also, so few.
Yeah.
So few. I think it's because I have so little, I don't care if I don't finish a game.
Sure.
Unless it's something like The Last of Us, obviously, where I want that full story arc and it's like, or, some other kind of 8 to 10 hour action game where it's like you're playing it for the full experience.
I definitely feel like your Call of Duties, your Uncharted. I mean, The Last of Us, even though it was 30 hours long, but those ones where you just go, it is purely a narrative game. I generally always finish those. If I start those, I'm generally always getting to the end of that because I go, like, why else am I playing this? Like, why else am I playing? I'm not playing Uncharted because the shooting feels great. I'm not playing The Last of Us because I like the gameplay.
Yeah.
I'm not playing COD. I mean, COD, the shooting is good, but like I'm kind of there for the spectacle of the story. So to not do that feels weird. But anything, like the words open world may as well just read unfinishable for me. Like
Yeah.
I can't, I was thinking like the last open world game I finished.
Spider-Man?
Yeah,
That's mine.
Yep.
Yeah.
But then that was probably the only one in a 5-year period, maybe.
Yep, same thing.
Thinking about it, like
Yeah.
every Assassin's Creed, I play like 30 hours and then I just never get to the end. Like, but my thing is that I go, once I have, like, I'm playing games for the fun of the loop. Once I feel like I've gotten my fill of that gameplay loop, then I'm like, well, I can just keep doing this, or I can go find whatever that next loop is.
Yeah.
And so that's what makes me fall off is I go, oh, I feel like you've shown me everything you have to show me. Sometimes I'm wrong and I miss out on some cool stuff.
Yeah.
Most of the time I'm like, okay, you've showed me what you had, and now you have created a game where I can experience that for 60 hours.
Yeah.
But I actually only needed 10 to really get my fill of, oh, that was fun, and then I move on. That's kind of like where I sit.
Totally. I feel like it's probably between 10 and 20 depending on the year.
Yeah.
Because if you include all like indie games and story games and stuff like that, then yeah, I get through a few, but
Well, I think it just makes sense that, like, so I think we're all kind of in the same camp of those games we do finish are those blockbuster narrative-focused games. Like, very rarely, as Nick pointed out, open world games, larger RPGs, and not just because they are larger, but I feel like we are all drawn, due to we're on similar kind of like circles, to the blockbuster movies of the games that come out that year, not just because they're big in spectacle, but because they are super focused narratives. So they are God of Wars, Spider-Man, but Uncharted, Last of Us, and that sort of thing. Like, because we know they're obtainable and they're finishable, and maybe a couple of classics in between, and then a few little indies in there. But yeah,
I feel like you finish more than any of us.
I don't know, because I gravitate towards games that don't end. Like I'm playing Destiny 2.
Towards game that doesn't end.
yeah.
Yeah,
Dota.
No, but I feel like when you do play a game that does have an ending, you tend to see it through.
I'm trying to think because like, yeah, I've just started playing Mafia. I'm going to finish that.
You tend to do it even when you hate it. You're like, I just must complete this thing.
I guess there is
as a matter of principle.
And I don't want to keep telling you what you do, but I feel the same as Steph. I just feel like you're always, every time we talk about a game that isn't Dota, you're like, oh yeah, I finished that last time.
I hated it.
Like,
Did you finish? I also finished it. You're like, what?
I don't know.
No, you're right. We're telling you this. You don't need to agree.
I
We're
didn't
telling you.
finish Spider-Man. I didn't finish The Outer Worlds. The Other Worlds?
Oh yeah, the Outer Worlds.
Yeah.
Yep. I didn't finish that either. I did finish Journey to the Savage Planet.
do you want like a round of applause?
No, do you want us to remember what that game was?
Yeah, which one was that?
That was that weird.
It was like a weird.
Oh yeah, that was kind of like No Man's Sky.
No, it was the B science fiction movie one,
Yeah,
right?
because it had I bring it up because it has a similar humor to the Outer Worlds.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed it much more.
Yeah, cool.
I would say for me, surprising a game. Finishing a game surprises me now. Like when I'm playing a game that I think I might want to finish this. It's a nice treat. It's not something that I feel compelled It's the majority of games I pick up, I plan not to finish. That's how I feel now in this era. So yeah, it's a strange thing.
Probably feel the same. I think when I was a uni student, I would finish everything that I bought because it was important to get my value for money.
Yeah, totally.
For sure.
It is less important now because we are in a very fortunate position where sometimes we get games for free or we can just afford to buy the things that we want to play. I feel like if I don't... Once I get started in something, I will see it through. That's not true of The Witcher. It was true of Fallout 3 that I started 3 or 4 times and put down after the first 2 hours and then finally got into it. And once I was 10 hours in, I was 50 hours in. Red Dead, I played all the way through. But I feel like, Red Dead 2 is one of the greatest games of the generation. It's like I'm not going to play through something that I hate. I think there's always something I enjoy in them if I'm going to finish it. But I guess if I don't enjoy something, I put it down quickly. I don't have a lot of time for things.
That's true.
Even like a Bloodborne, which I should love, I didn't like. Like I played through a couple of areas and then got to another fucking Gothic cathedral, and I was like, oh, this game has nothing to offer other than Gothic cathedrals.
All right, calm down.
Aside from its great combat, but that wasn't enough for me. So I was like, this is just a Gothic Dark Souls game. I get it. And I didn't need to finish that.
It's hard because I feel like there's like, I have games that fall into lots of different camps. There's like the games that I am playing by myself that I enjoy, that I have the best intentions of finishing, like Ghost of Tsushima, which is just slipping away from me. It's more and more like getting to the, people are like, have you hit the third island? And I'm like, no, I'm on the second island, but I'm gonna get there. Yep. And then as more time passes, I can just see Jin Sakai holding his hand out to me being like, don't leave, and me being like, I'm sorry.
There's going to be like a whip of wind and red petals around him, and then
And then there's like persistent online games that I play, like Sea of Thieves, that I always keep coming back to. Then there's like the games that are like new and are coming out every week that I want to kind of like see what they're about and play with those as well. And so it's like you're having to keep on top of all these different things. It becomes really hard to kind of, you know, finish the ones that you'd committed to originally.
Even the ones that, as you said, like you were
really
so passionate about a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
It's funny, just it takes a couple of distractions and a few moments where the game might lull a little bit, and then you can find yourself thinking, all right, I have seen everything this game has to offer.
And I will say that, like Pete, I used to feel guilty, and or like there would be the value for money thing, but also I had a sense of responsibility. I felt like, kind of like a movie. I feel like I never really watch half a movie. I just watch it even if I'm not enjoying it. I kind of just see it out, and it's out of some weird duty that like, oh, people put a lot of time into this, and I chose to start doing it. And I had that with games, and then I've completely lost that, where I'm just like, fuck you, game. Like, I gave you my money, and either you didn't respect my time and I'm leaving you, or you did respect my time and you're awesome, but like, you have my money, so what do you care? And once I shed that guilt of feeling like I had to finish everything, then it meant that I can dabble. It's like I can go to. I game like I'm at a 10-course degustation, and it's just like
I was about to say
the next thing's coming out, and let's just roll it in the mouth like Peter would.
I don't know if this says more about me, but I was about to try and cut you off and be like you're at a Sizzler buffet, and I like that you went for a 10-course
jelly cubes.
Yeah, you can go straight for that dessert cut.
I used to have a thing where I was such a like book snob that if I started a book, I told myself I had to finish it.
Yeah.
Which is so stupid, because why would you, books, like reading is such precious time. Why would you waste time reading something that you don't enjoy? And once I kind of applied that mentality to video games, not necessarily because I'm not enjoying it, but it's just like, I'm just going to play whatever I feel like playing in the moment and not feel guilty about what I haven't finished. Or, you know, there's so many games that I want to go back to that I've left in really great moments as well. Like, I still want to keep playing Tell Me Why. I was playing The Sims and I got pregnant and I never had that baby. I'm just still in that game, pregnant somewhere.
Yeah, right.
To the goth guy that I had an affair with who lives across the street. What's going to happen? We'll find out someday.
Sorry, I got distracted by chat for like 3 seconds and came back to goth guy.
I was about to say, anyone who just joined the stream at that point as well, hi, welcome. We're talking about video games.
I think you've also have raised a very weird ethical question, which I'm not comfortable with, about the idea of like leaving games in this suspended state where
they're waiting for
She's just pregnant forever.
Because I will confess something that I don't think I've ever actually told anybody, and that is that there is and I mean that I'm not kidding, I mean this truly genuinely, there is a small part of me that thinks that inanimate objects, and particularly toys, are alive in some capacity, and that I feel bad. So like, so Banjo will bring up, he has this squirrel, this like toy squirrel thing that he loves and carries around everywhere. And then when we take him down to bed, if the squirrel's upstairs, he's like, squirrel, jumps out of bed, runs upstairs. He's like, you fucking get back here. We read the book. You're supposed to be in bed. Like, don't go get squirrel. I'll go get squirrel. He's like, no, I got to get squirrel. Runs upstairs. So the solve for this is that while he's eating dinner, squirrel will be upstairs. I take squirrel, but I don't want to leave the kids, like particularly Elkie, alone when she's eating. So I just stand at the top of the stairs and I throw squirrel hard at the wall and he bounces off the wall and then down the second set of stairs so that it lands basically outside Banjo's bedroom.
Got it.
And every time I do that, I throw and I just go, imagine if he feels this and like bounces down the stairs. And so I feel like now with this Sims thing, I'm like, this is triggering that little thing in me where I'm like, maybe those Sims people are real though. She's been in some sort of nightmarish 47-month trimester.
Goth guy keeps coming around. Has it been born yet?
And thankfully, everyone in the chat is saying, I agree with Nick. I feel the same. I have the same complex. Okay, good.
Yeah,
Good.
my childhood treasured toy, like I would, even when I was an adult, it was like not in my room anymore, but it was still in the house, and I would go and give it a little kiss on the head before bed.
Yeah, mine is like somewhere where it can breathe.
No, yes,
yeah,
all
yeah,
can
yeah,
see.
yeah,
Mine is and I'm like, I'll just put him on the shelf and just like shove him in there, and then I'm like, well, I'll sit him up, and he needs to see out from the shelf, and
Little blankets so he doesn't get
yeah, of course, a monster. Oh, come on.
Yeah, so it's just so there you go. So you've learned something very interesting about us. Well, a lot of people in the chat. There was a poll running before. I don't have the results of it anymore, but there was a pretty good split between I finish and then I'm happy to put a game down, and then a very low percentage of people who were just like, I'll abandon anything at any time. I'm a chaos kid. So there you go. Thank you very much for that question. That's not my robot. That was a good one.
It was a good question.
Now, we are going to do something that we haven't done before, but before we get to the thing we're not haven't done before, we will have a quick break. But stick around because it is going to be movie time after this.
Oh, movie time!
And I feel like we're all very excited. But
Interactive movie time.
Yeah.
Possibly.
It's still a video game.
He is
it's
obsessed
video
with this
that you
idea that
game
it's
with.
too passive.
Yeah.
Yeah, I am.
Yeah.
And even in the Slack chat, we could tell that he was like,
Because passive means quiet, and quiet means Gus starts saying embarrassing things.
But that's what's like fun about games like this when you're doing it with other people, because we have discussions.
We can talk.
Yeah.
We can talk.
we're going to mock
we can see.
We're going to sit here in silence and just push.
But this place is a giver. So if you're feeling sick inside of the games you play, have a look away at heart, it's another day. At least you're not a divvy in a bib and blaze. You're ahead of the pace, and you owe it all to this place. So raise your glass to this place. You owe it all to
Next time you want a mint, reach for a deaf mint. Disclaimer, deaf mints aren't actually mints. Eating a deaf mint is tantamount to and quite literally is cannibalism. Where would you even start? If you were going to eat a human, starting with the head, that means you're straight up copying a mouthful of hair, and that's no way to eat a person. You should start with the feet, nibbling on each individual toe just to get used to the taste of human flesh. Then work your way up to the ankle. The shin is mainly just bone, so you won't fill up too fast like bread at the start of a meal. Then it's just one mouthful at a time until you get to the neck, and yes, now you're heading into head territory.
But by this time it should all seem pretty normal, and you're thinking, well, I've just consumed a whole man. What harm is a small amount of hair going to do to me now?
Deaf mints, available at the candy aisle in all participating supermarkets. Thank you very much, everyone, for watching us. An enjoyable stream, as always. We'll be back next week with a bunch more content. We've got news on Monday and Wednesday. We've got the Metal Gear Solid gameplay, which was very fun, dropping on Tuesday. We've got this show again on Thursday, and then with a post-show as normal. That's everything we've got planned at the moment. Maybe something else will pop up. I don't actually have anything in mind. I'm just saying that that's at least the bare minimum what you're getting.
Yeah.
You might even get more. Who knows? we'll get to see some of those logos that Gus will
see what
finish
happens.
over the next week.
That's the
I'm
plan.
excited to actually see them because I'll be seeing these fresh.
Yeah, no, I turned all the layers on and posted that on the creative on the Discord so everyone can see all the logos at once.
Yeah, nice.
Drawn like a madman scribbling on a cell wall. So, yeah, got a lot of work to do to color all those in and send them off, but they're looking good. They're good.
And if you want to support us and everything that we do and all the FMV games that we want to play, then head to patreon.com/backpocket and become a subscriber, become a patron. And also, I would really encourage you to share our content with your friends as well, to show your friends and put it on your socials and stuff, that we're a super tight-knit, insular community. We're very welcoming, but I want to see us welcome new people to it as well. So
Even the ones that
expand even more.
Because we saw that tonight. New people were popping up in the chat.
Totally.
So we
Very
obviously,
exciting.
we scratched an itch there with the FMV, and maybe there's more. Are there more itches we could scratch for you? Let us know in the Discord.
What's happening?
Scotty just farted.
Oh, yeah, it's bad. It's
She's
bad.
had an upset tummy.
You got a sick tum-tum.
Yeah.
And she,
well-
yeah, making some smelly farts.
That's a good as place as any, isn't it?
I can't smell it.
No, but the fan is going to blow
Yeah,
it
it's
over
pushing
here.
it
Yep,
soon.
I'm getting it.
Well,
Also,
Nick's dead.
if you've been holding one in, now is the best time to let one out, Nick, by the way.
Dead. Good line.
Let's go home.
Yeah, let's go.
Let's go home.
Goodbye, everybody!
Bye, everyone. Thanks so much.